What's up, my dudes and dudettes? It's the guy from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. In 2012, the world was plagued by a piece of shit. A waste of space. Jeff the Killer. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I absolutely hate this creepypasta. Not only did it send the entire genre back into the dark age with things like proxies and edgy OCs made by 12-year-olds, but it's also semi-responsible for Tiki Toby. Jeff the Killer had such a large ripple effect on the entire creepypasta community for literally no reason. There were cosplays, art, fan stories, and people even started connecting him with fucking Slenderman. There's not a single thing about the original Jeff the Killer story that made it even slightly worthy of this much praise, let alone it being called an okay story. The only redeemable thing about it was a remake that came out years later, made by Ban & K. Go read it. Unfortunately, we're not covering that version. Today, my friends, we're covering the original version, which I'm convinced was concocted as an assassination attempt on the entire genre. Full disclosure, I'm not taking this seriously at all. So, zip up your flies, say goodbyes, all that jazz, and let's jump right in. Jeff and his family had just moved into the new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother, Liu, couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What's not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself. And introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said, "Hi," and ran back to play with his yard.
"Well,"
said Jeff's mom.
"I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter and my two sons, Jeff and Liu."
They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them over to their son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done unpacking, Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would he invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid anymore,"
"Jeff,"
said his mother.
"we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to our party, and that's final."
Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there, looking at his ceiling when suddenly, he got a feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call good writing. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast, and got ready for school. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Liu finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there, waiting for the bus. And then, all of a sudden, you can't be fucking serious. Some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed and turned their back to him. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aristotle shirt and ripped blue jeans.
Well, it looks like we got some new meat.
Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge.
Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith.
Jeff and Liu looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have.
And he's Troy.
They looked over to the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling.
And I,
said the first kid.
I'm Randy. Now for all the kids in this neighborhood, there's a small price for bus fare, if you get my drift.
Leo stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him.
I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems you must do this the hard way.
The kid walked up to Leo and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now, it was truly strong. A burning sensation. He stood up, but Liu gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Give that my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife.
Oh, and what will you do?
Just as he finishes the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Where else would he fucking grab it? Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground, screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Liu could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how did you... was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Liu made it to school, they didn't dare talk about what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Liu just thought of it as his brother beating up those kids, but Jeff knew it was something more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. Little interjection here. In the Abandoned K remake, the feeling is made much better, with it being described as a liquidy syrup pulling Jeff back in. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home, do the whole thing near the bus stop, and how he probably wouldn't take the bus anymore. He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous tone, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. That's not how you fucking pace a sentence. But okay. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door. His mother looking back at him with an angry look.
Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son. This is fucking stupid.
Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Liu,"
Son,
said one of the cops.
we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?
Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Liu were attacked, but there was no proof it wasn't them who attacked first. They couldn't say they weren't fleeing, because, truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself, or Liu.
Son, call down your brother.
Jeff couldn't do it, since it was he who beat up all those kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up those kids. Liu tried to hold me back, okay? But he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner, and they both nod.
Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie.
"In court case, the fuck is that?" "Wait," says Liu. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and knocked him on Liu. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves and revealed cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle.
Son, just put the knife down,
said the officer. Liu held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. Where the fuck else would he drop it? He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Liu, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Ha, poor bro. Trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Liu out to the patrol car. "Liu, tell him it was me. It was me. I was the one who beat up those kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders.
Jeff, please, you don't have to lie.
Who fucking wrote this?
We know it's Liu. Liu? I think it's pronounced Liu, I don't know.
Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car sped off with Liu inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled up to the driveway. Seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong,
Son, what is this, son?
Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him, as Jeff wept into the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back inside the house, saying that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at him. He couldn't see how they thought of Liu when it was his fault. He just wanted to sleep, trying to get the whole thing out of his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Liu at the GDC. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face.
Jeff, it's the day.
She said, as she opened the curtains and let the light flood into his room. What? What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirs awake.
Why, it's Billy's party.
Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now, get dressed.
Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get herself ready. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party?
Son, is that all you're going to wear?
Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, said Jeff. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile.
Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression,
said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes,
Just pick out something,
called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go along with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, nothing to go with the dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on.
You're wearing that?
They both said. His mother looked at her watch.
Oh, no time to change. Let's just go.
She said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara's and Billy's. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go meet some of them? Said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to the yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff. The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please? Said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend shoot at the kids. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous. But then, he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time that he had done something to get his mind off Liu. So he played with the kids for a while. Until he heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Alexa, how tall is the average American fence? Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked... Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred.
Hello, Jeff, is it?
He said, we have some unfinished business. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to GDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes.
Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have... you may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today.
Me. Do me a favor. Do that fucking shitty gif with like fire writing with like a shitty PNG image of Shakespeare on it. And then have like the quotes, you may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. Like fade in. That'd be really fucking funny. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled out guns out of their pockets.
No one interrupts, or guts will fly,
they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it in his shoulder. Jeff screamed, and he fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabbed his foot and twisted, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks up Jeff by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand up, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood.
Come on, Jeff. Fight me.
He picks up Jeff and throws him to the kitchen. Randy grabs a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head.
Fight.
He throws Jeff back into the living room.
Come on, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. Look at me.
Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood.
I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just gonna sit there and rot in there for a whole year. You should be ashamed.
Jeff starts to get back up.
Oh, finally, you stand and fight.
Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling. The one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
Finally, he's up.
Says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happened. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for air, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out a fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith following behind him. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs a towel rack and rips it from the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack on Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He's more agile than Troy though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He drops the knife and grabs Jeff by the neck. He pushes him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on both of them, burning both. It burnt both of them. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on.
What's funny is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol.
He said. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact, the flames ignited the alcohol and vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll on the ground. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell downstairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, drop to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. When Jeff woke up, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized there was some tube in his arm. And when he tried to get up, it fell out, and a nurse rushed in. "I don't think you can get out of bed just yet," she said, as she put him in the bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision and no idea what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother.
Honey, are you okay?
She asked. Jeff couldn't answer though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak.
Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let you go.
This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering that the tube was coming out of his arm.
He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again.
Jeff's mother hugs Jeff. It'd be really cool if you give her an actual fucking name, and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover of his face was almost removed. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls out the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. "What? What happened to my face?" Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand on his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back to the mirror. "Jeff," said Liu. "It's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, you good, bro?" "Okay. I've never felt more happy." "Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me." He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped. Now he was as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know. I love the fact that the author just felt the need to cut in here for no fucking reason,
Doctor,
said Jeff's mom.
is my son alright, in the head?
"Oh yeah, this behavior is typical for patients who have taken very large amount of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring back here and we'll give him some psychology tests."
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Jeff's mother went over to Jeff.
Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go.
Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face still formed into a crazy smile. "Okay, mommy." His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. "This is what came in," said the lady behind the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood, and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to the room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Spoilers! Later that night, Jeff's mother woke up to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked at the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black.
Jeff, your eyes.
His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could keep smiling forever. Jeff's mother slowly started to walk away, saying that her son was going insane. "What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?"
Yes, son. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face.
She ran back into the room and choked Jeff's dad from his sleep.
Honey, get the gun.
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they heard as Jeff rushes at them. It's supposed to be rushed. This is in past tense, isn't it? Rushes them with a knife, gutting them both. His brother Lee woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything, but he was startled by some noise. So he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up, before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Liu. Liu thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. "Shh," Jeff said. "Just go to sleep." And that was Jeff the Killer, everybody. Hopefully I never have to do this again, unless it's with the Banding K remake, in which I will read the entire fucking thing by myself. Special thanks to the voice actors present in this video, DJ, Joe, and Spider. Their social media links will be linked down below. So please, go follow them. They deserve the clout for being put through this fucking awful story. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you want for the next one. Maybe I'll cover anything you want. Maybe even Tiki Toby. And, yeah, I've been ghoulish. It's been fun. Goodbye.